What is going on, people? This is part 2 of the KvK action that I got in after I overslept the beginning by a couple of hours. So I just decided to go ahead and go back to sleep and get some action later. But yeah, we started this small rally group, if you will. I think it was like 6, 7-ish rallies at one point. It kind of fluctuated here and there, but it was about 6 or 7 rallies in total. And we were just going for targets, and most of them were blind targets. We didn't have a scout, etc. So it was just setting up a call, having a countdown like 3, 2, 1, launch, and then just clicking the button at the same time that everybody else did it, and then launching and hoping for the best. So at this point, we were just like trying to go for higher targets because either everybody was shielded or we're online. So once that happens, especially in a party, you kind of get a little impatient and you just start going for bigger and bigger targets to kind of test your limits, if you will. So yeah, we found this target here, and he seemed offline, but at the same time he was in war gear, etc. So you know, it's kind of like this could be interesting. I did see some major red flags though, like of course the purple leader. I don't know if you guys have been aware, but purple leaders are not very good, even if they are army heroes. Remember, a purple leader gives you roughly only about 40% of the stats that a gold counterpart will give you. So yeah, not very good. And I also saw some drums in there, so I was like, maybe. So yeah, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and start marching. Let me see if I had the rallies right. I see at least 5, and I know that there's a couple of more that are walking after. So yeah, it's about 5 or 6, and there's another one that was launched later from another distance. So yeah, it's about 5 or 6. But this one only took it down to 752, and we were all capped. So we were like, okay, if he's online, we might be in trouble. So there goes all the rallies and all the reports, and I mean, we did a fair decent amount of damage considering that he didn't really have much as far as reinforcements or anything. So he did take a bit of losses there, but we're all capped. So you know what that means. When everybody gets capped in a rally party, the next thing you do is you ask, who's next? Not like Goldberg, but yeah, we were like, okay, who's gonna take over? So for us, Tofu was the one that took over, and we were rallying once again. And this time around, I believe we had 7 rallies. So wave 2 had an extra rally, which is even better because there was no sign that this dude is gonna be online. So that's great. If he does come online, then we run into the issue is even if we keep rallying, he can keep migrating between kingdoms until KvK is over, essentially. So yeah, that's why Fury is very important in KvK. You kind of lock them into that kingdom, so whether you want to rally, solo, etc., you're able to do so, unless, and we actually run into this a few KvKs ago, you have a target that's in Fury and their battle timer runs out as you're marching on them. We actually had that happen. So it was funny, but not funny at the same time. But yeah, at this point, we actually decided to go ahead and just start spamming because we thought that, okay, well, after this wave, they're either going to burn. And if they're online, we don't want to give them the chance of countering us. And plus, at this point, the whole kingdom was scouting and all that. So it was kind of like, okay, well, if the whole kingdom's going to be scouting, we might as well spam them just in case. But yeah, we go ahead and start launching all the rallies, and 741, 726, we're not really doing too much damage. It's not good. 726, look, there's another rally coming up also. Yeah, I mean, he's just eating them. 693, although these rallies are kind of doing decent amount, except yeah, I mean, 665, he's taken some damage, but the problem is that he still has all of our leaders. So we need a savior. We need somebody that will free us all. Who is going to be the one to step up and send us the glorious mail that so-and-so has freed your leader? And oh, what's that? Is that another march coming? BTA? Quake? Oh, a range rally? Is this going to be the one? Are you the savior? 665 Are there going to be flames coming up? And the jury says yes. There it is. We're all saved. All the heroes got... Ooh, that was a nice hit too. All the way down to 589. And you already know that once the flames start, oh, everybody wants to get in that one last rally. So yeah, once this happened, it was pretty much just a race to see who actually got the last lick in, if you will. And it doesn't really matter what you send. Even if you get counter, you're probably gonna burn them anyways. That's what happens when your front line is gone. You're just kind of you're very weak. So yeah, at this point we didn't really have timers, so all the rallies were kind of just walking by themselves. And unfortunately for us, a lot of these rallies were already walking as our timer was counting down. So yeah, it didn't look very hopeful for us. And by the time we actually got to walking, the dude was already at 452 million might, which was his core might. So yeah, unfortunate, but still, it was a very, very solid 0. Throughout this whole thing, also, when I was not leading the rally, I was actually around the bank and making sure that everybody was supplied resources. So I was on the call, I was rally leading, and I was doing bank. Let me just say that I was multitasking like hell. But all in all, I mean, as long as you get a good 0, it's definitely always worth it. So here are all the hits all together, and that'll give you an idea of how many troops he had. I mean, he had a decent amount. But yeah, it took, what, 3 waves to 0 him completely. And considering that he was in gear and all of that, and he clearly was in talents as well, I just don't understand why you would just go AFK in KvK like that. Like, I don't know, dude. Especially going up against the guilds that you were going up against, Sugar Family, M44 Family, etc. Like, yeah, you should be in high alert. Now, this one was one that we kind of tested, and we kind of were wondering if they were online. So what we did is we were gonna walk. We're gonna have that like slow walk. Everybody was gonna slow walk, and I was gonna watch for a gear change. And he was up 1.04 billion might, and I'm watching for the gear change. For some reason, those KTC actually sped their rally, and then I see the gear change, and I'm like, gear change, and that's when everybody decides to just go ahead and cancel it out. That first rally actually hit before they changed their gear, but it was just very curious as to why they decided to actually speed it. Because we were on the call and we were just kind of saying, okay, we're gonna walk there at the same time and we'll call it off if he changes. But I mean, he got decent kills. Now, this was actually one of my first hits when I first started KvK, and I saw that this solo trap has caught a couple of us, and it had a couple of our leaders. So what we ended up doing was we had like 7 or 8 people poured in at once, and we did a bunch of solos, but he actually shielded before those solos connected. So we got our heroes back and all that. We knew it was a trap, and great, right? He shielded and all that. But the thing was, he went into the forest to get rid of the shield and came back, kind of like goading us into doing it again. Maybe he wasn't ready, etc. So we waited a little bit, and then I guess he kind of got complacent. And what I did was I just went ahead and sent a solo at him. Now, he was in range phalanx, and I did send cavalry. He, after the fact, did tell me that the reason he was in range phalanx already is because he had seen my gear from the first solo attacks that we did, and he saw that I had cavalry gear on. So that's why he actually countered me as far as the phalanx. But I did burn him. This was a victory, and as you can tell, only 4 troops survived. So let's take a look at the comp here. So I sent the usual mix of T5 and T4 with a bit of T2 that I have in my presets, and here's his comp right there. About 3 million gladiators and about 7 million archers and catapults. So cataphracts, I mean. So yeah, I mean that's the usual like solo trap go-to. But against T5, this doesn't really work that well, at least not anymore, with people with decent gear, etc. And especially with people with like the max familiars and all that. It just does not work anymore. You need more. So here is the what I sent right there, and here's what he had. I mean, the wall heroes and everything were great, but it just wasn't enough. He was in gear and everything, so yeah. That's why a lot of times now when you look at the solo traps that are only in the 100 million range, those are the traps that a lot of people are loving to hit, because yeah, those are the ones that people want to hit. Now if it's a solo trap now of like 140 150 million might, then that's definitely much harder, and it seems like those are the solo traps that are definitely working the best. But yeah, let's take a quick look here at the battle. Keep in mind that there was only 4 troops that survived on my end, and this is why no matter what you're doing, you should always include 4 siege into your march. What I actually like to do is I like to send 4 of the T2 siege, because funny enough, if you add T2 siege, that actually does not slow your march down. So it's not like adding 4 T5 siege, but it'll slow your march all the way down. But as you can tell right here, look at this, look at the morale. They're at 3%, 1%, and it just kind of gets stuck there, which is kind of unfortunate. But because they now have to run and to try and get my siege, I'm able to get that last bap right there and get that win. So 4 troops made up 35% of my morale. So just FYI, very, very important to know that. But yeah, I didn't really do much damage to speak of technically, but I did burn them, and it was over 17 million troops in war gear and everything. So yeah, definitely like that, especially since it countered me. Range phalanx, I drove my horses right into a range phalanx. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching, and until later, bye.